obviously are going to make a run, and they kept coming at you in the fourth and going in 3-5. What did you like about specifically how you guys responded to that?
Man, we talked about it at halftime, when they got down, because I thought, and I told our guys this, I thought they had a lot of really good looks in the first half that didn't go down for them. Certainly in the fourth, those corner threes, they made them all.
Yeah.
They missed some late at the top, but I thought they had good looks. And then and some of our defense was good too. I don't want to take anything away from our guys, but we talked about some of the threes there and felt like they were going to be a lot more aggressive. And that's generally what happens when teams get down. You come in and try to make a statement and a push right away. I think we knew it was coming. I thought the problem with the run was our defense, quite honestly. I didn't necessarily mind our offense, but I think they must have scored on 5 or 6 straight possessions. And we weren't out in transition. They really kind of controlled the pace of the game at that point in time. When that happened, I liked the way our guys responded and kept competing, and they kept their composure, and they just tried to move on to the next thing. And listen, they're a really, really good team, and they've got a lot of size. They're starting to get healthy. They're all good off the dribble. They all shoot it. So you knew they're going to make a run, but I was just happy the way their guys kept their poise.
Josh had a career high tonight. He's hit threes. He drove to the basket. I mean, he's clearly playing with a lot of confidence offensively. What specifically are you seeing from him at that end?
Well, I think another big factor of the game was the turnovers tonight, right? If we can keep those under control, that's important. I thought he played just a great game tonight all the way around. I didn't love, personally, the amount of minutes I played him, but he was playing well, and I just kind of kept with him. And he can recover pretty quickly if you give him some quick blows, but he was downhill. He got to the free throw line. He shot some threes. He made some really good passes. I thought in the first half he really was the catalyst. Even in plays he wasn't involved. The kick-ahead passes that helped us get on the break to create some advantages for ourselves. But, I thought all the way around he played a great game.
Billy, you knew coming into the season how you guys had to win games with this group. Obviously, preseason you probably would have wanted to see it, come to fruition more. But preseason, I guess, to do it 5 straight games, to do it so well this early, how do you sort of explain the execution of the system to this point?
Yeah, I think in the preseason was somewhat, you're trying to establish identity, but you're also trying to get guys opportunities to play. Right? So there's really not a lot of rhythm sometimes, or some guys are in, sometimes guys are out. Then you're dealing with Vooch, who had a really long summer, and you try to make sure that you're not, for him in preseason games, he's getting what he needs and what he wants. But I really think, some of it for us was guys came back 2.5, 3 weeks early before training camp. I think the playing part of it was important because it enabled us to get right to training camp and play. We played a lot of 5-on-5 in training camp. We were able to, build off of what we did last year by playing. So some of the terminology, some of the changes, and obviously in training camp you have to walk through things and you take time to do that, but we really wanted to get them playing. I thought that helped us because I felt like with our schedule, the way it was set up, we were going to need to get off to a good start, and they've done a great job working. I think we've gotten more physical. Like any team, there's things we got to get better at, but I think the physicality, the way they're competing, the mentality that they believe, which I think is very, very powerful. I think when there's belief, it's really, really powerful, and there's good connection. They've got good relationships. They all can talk to each other. I think there's a lot of positive things that they have that really go into winning. And listen, it's very early. It's 5 games, and I'm happy with the start that we've got. And quoting Vooch was just like, yeah, it's 5 games, but we got a lot more ways to go, and we can't lose sight. We just can't think, we can show up to games and just play our style of play. Our style of play requires an enormous amount of work and effort, both defensively and offensively. And if we get away from putting in that work, it's going to be very hard for us. And I think because they've been willing to do that, you see we've been a little bit more physical. We've been better defensively. We've been better rebounding, offensive rebounding. We're putting our bodies in play. We're trying to take charges. We're doing good things. But the thing about this league is you got to come right back to New York and do it again. And then you got to go right back and do it again. And it's just in night after night after night. So I'm happy for the guys because of the work that they put in. But at the same point, too, it doesn't mean anything unless we can sustain it and keep playing, at the level. And that doesn't mean we're going to win every game by doing it, but it means you give yourself the best chance to go out there and have an opportunity to win.
Really, you've seen the work that Josh has put in on the three-pointers, especially since he's gotten here. Can you maybe just speak to, I guess, what you've seen from him and where you maybe see that work kind of showing up?
I think the biggest thing, Jamal, is he's taken the right ones. You know, he's taken ones where, and listen, he got up against the clock a couple times and he made a couple which were big shots for us, but I think he's taken really good shots where his feet are under him and he's set and he's, you know, able to get it off. He's always shot the ball well from the corner three. I do think from a young player's standpoint, coming all the way from Australia, I think the speed and pace of an NBA game is a lot different than probably what he had seen, so he's probably figured some of that out. I think the number of years he's had in the league, I think the amount of time and energy and effort he's put into his shooting, it's good to see him be rewarded. You know, the thing I love about Josh, he loves to play. You know, he just really loves to compete and loves to play. And he's put the time in, you know, on his shooting, and he's got confidence and belief, I think, in it. And if he's taking the right ones, you know, for us, we want to take those shots. And I'm happy he's being rewarded, you know, by making a few.
Billy, down this, you know, in the first half, you know, Josh, you know, like you mentioned, he really stood out. Then the second half, Vuce kind of got going as well. Just how critical was he down the stretch? You know, I know he had the and one, but also on the short roll, he found Giddey for the layup that forced him to call timeout.
Yeah, Vooch is great. I mean, I think people keep talking about his age, you know, every time I come up here, but he keeps himself in great shape. He takes care of his body. You know, he's a total pro. But he's also a very calming force. He's got a lot of experience. He's been in a lot of these games and a lot of these situations, even in timeouts and huddles, even when they were making a run. You know, he's talking to the guys about, you know, the next possession, got to focus on the next thing. He's been really good. Trey Jones is a lot like that too. So's Josh. There's a calmness to there. I think they understand competition, that this is going to make a run, and now, you know, they know, okay, now we have to respond. But Vooch has been great from that standpoint. You know, his experience and the way he tries to lead, and when he steps up on things, you know, I know our group really respects him when he starts to talk about stuff.
Billy, I know we're going to talk a bunch about Josh's shooting and how it's improved, but I imagine you got a good sense of what they tried to do with him at OKC his last year as far as being a screener, the off-ball stuff. What have you seen as far as his progression off the ball and you know, his comfortability playing with other playmakers?
Yeah, I think he has to do that. You know, he has to play off the ball some, and he's got to be a screener some, for a couple of reasons. I think everybody in the room would agree his best attribute is when he's coming downhill and he's in the teeth of the defense in the paint and he starts spraying the ball around, his vision. Well, you know, sometimes if, you know, teams are kind of maybe backing off of him or just trying to take that part of the game away from him screening and rolling is a way for him to get the ball into the teeth of the defense where he can do what he does really, really well. The one thing about Josh's game is he's always been very, very open to exploring everything. Being a screener, being a roller, playing off the ball, playing on the ball, shooting it, driving it, you know, getting to the free throw line. Like, there's nothing that he, I don't think, can physically not do. He can do everything. And I think that whatever the game dictates, he should be thinking about going to those things, you know. And he set some screens tonight. We're able to kind of find him, but I like the idea that he's doing that. And, you know, sometimes when you're screening, you force switches, and he can create a mismatch for himself where he can kind of go into the post or he can pop out and catch it and drive it. So I just want him to be a total player, whether it's on ball, off ball, wherever it may be. I just think that he's the kind of guy that just impacts the game in so many different ways that he shouldn't be placed into a box of just, you know, one kind of thing. He's got to, I think, for his growth and development, because he's still a young player, he's still got to do a little bit of everything.
Billy, how good do you think Josh can get? What's the ceiling? What do you see in him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got a huge runway personally. You know, I think for a couple reasons. One, he's a great competitor. He loves to play. I don't think he's afraid of the moment. I think he leans into competition. He has shown great growth in his shooting. He's figured out the league just because he's been in it for a while, so he knows, you know, personnel, who he's guarding. He's got a really, really high basketball IQ, really understands the game. The only thing negative I would say about Josh as a player, because of his ability to impact the game so many ways, is you see how we can score when our team turnovers are down. and that was a big part of it tonight. And we've been a team averaging 18 turnovers a game. I'm not putting that all on Josh. That's our team. But as a smart, cerebral player as he is, you can't come out of games with 5, 6, 7 turnovers. Just can't. He's too good of a player for that. So that's the only thing I would say is him sometimes trying to make the home run play where we can make some simple plays. But everything else, the ceiling for him, I think, is he can be. Certainly, he's got more than enough capability to be an all-star. I believe that. He's definitely he's got a huge runway to continue to get better. And that's the thing that's encouraging. Like, I think Modest has got a big ceiling. I think Josh has got a big ceiling. We got some younger guys that have an opportunity to really grow and develop, and I would put Josh up there with any of them.
Last one.
Yeah, perfect lead into my question, because you talked about the effort needed to play this way, but just in terms of sheer execution, to have a 72-point first half with only 2 turnovers and all kinds of multi-pass possessions. I mean, what enabled these guys to just play at this high a level, especially so early in the season?
Well, I think one of the things that happened is, when you show guys film and you show the negative impact of things like we don't block out, or we don't get back and communicate in transition, or we turn the ball over. Like when they're seeing those things on film, I will say this: the effort it takes for these guys to play the way we're trying to play physically, we need everybody. We do, because during 82 games, someone's going to go down. I hope nobody goes down, but generally something happens, and it's got to be the next guy up, and we've got to be able to sustain it. And it's not just about running in transition. It's, you get back against us, and we don't have transition. Can we create the half court as a fast break? Like, the half court needs to be a fast break also. You need to be moving and cutting and playing off of each other. And then you're not even talking about the defensive end of the floor of having to go back and play defense and get back in transition. Teams are playing faster all the way around the league. And now you're talking about physically putting your body in place, blocking out, rebounding, and then doing it all over again. And there's 100 possessions on offense and defense, so it's hard for these guys, and I've said this before, for them to play 8, 10, 12 minutes consecutively. It's almost impossible. We got to rest these guys. So a lot of times there are not really a lot of rotations. It's like he's tired, he's out, he's going in. He's tired, he's out, he's going in. And I appreciate that the guys have totally sacrificed to they know that's the way we got to play and what we got to do to be successful. So that first half, with the way they played, I mean, it was a great thing to watch. I mean, I just love the ball movement and the cutting and the passing. And to your point, we didn't turn the ball over. We really took care of it. We made really good decisions. We made each other better. I think we had 17 assists at the half. I mean, I really loved the way we played. But, New York's a really, really good team, and you knew they were going to come out, and the game got slowed. And I was happy to see that we were able to kind of play that way too.
I think confidence. I think being in a place where obviously the contract stuff's out the way now. That's kind of off my back. And, I'm in a place where I'm wanted. I love being here. I'm happy here, and I think having confidence from your teammates and the coaches to trust me to go out there and make plays, and that's kind of what you need as a player. And when you have the belief from everybody around you, it propels you in the right direction. So I'm feeling good. We're feeling good as a team. But we kind of spoke about it after the game. It's only 5 games into the season. It's very, very early, and we've got a long way to go.
And obviously, the shooting is one thing, but I seem to remember OKC trying to be this off-ball guy was very difficult for you to start out, and now it seems like you've really advanced on that front. What's helped you do that, and are you completely comfortable now playing with other playmakers and having to be that guy?
Yeah, I am, and I love it. I love when we got other handles out there, Trey, whoever it is, obviously Kobe when he gets back, because one, it takes pressure off me having to bring the ball up every time, and 2, it allows me to cut, move off the ball as well, space the floor, and try to make teams pay from behind the arc. So obviously the situation was different in Oklahoma with personnel, and they have the best player in the world on their team, so you want the ball in his hands. So it's just different situations. As I said, I love the guys that I get to play with every night and make my job easier, and I hope I can make theirs easier.
Billy talked about how you and Vuce and Trey Jones have a calming effect on the team. It allows you to have calm moments, manipulate their performance.
Yeah, I mean, we've been through it as a team, and we've been through games where we're up, we're down, and we've got to claw our way back. Teams are going to make their runs to get back in the game, and they're a good team. Obviously, it's a cup game, so a little different atmosphere and whatnot, but we never knew. We knew when we got up 19-20 at the half that it wasn't over. They're a great team. They were going to come back, and they did. And, I think when they got it back to 3-4 points, when we went to that timeout in the fourth, we stuck together. We understood that we can't start isolating out. We got to come even stronger together, and we did that. We executed both sides of the ball. Defense, I thought we really locked in on Brunson late in that fourth. He got off the leash a little bit early, but we did a really good job down the stretch, both sides of the ball, doing what we needed to do.
From an execution standpoint on offense, when teams do slow you down, it's like impossible to play like that the entire 48. So when teams do slow you down, like what are the things that you guys need to do to get yourself back on track?
Yeah, I think it's been pretty heavily documented that we're not really an isolation team. We're a team that moves the ball, cuts, drives, hits the paint. We hit the paint at a pretty high rate. So obviously transition's our number one, and if that's not there, then you get into the half court and you got to be able to move the ball. And for us, as I said, it's about ball movement, playing out of blow screens, handoffs, cuts, paint touches, and we've done a really good job. I think we've made teams have to defend, they have to get back, and it's tiring to guard that for 48 minutes. So, and it's one of our luxuries, having depth where, when our starting unit comes out, our bench unit comes in and the pace doesn't drop off at all. So it's exhausting. I've been on the other side playing Indiana. It's exhausting playing against them because of how much they run. So I can only imagine what it's like playing against us. And we do a lot of conditioning in the summer to simulate moments like this. We play scrimmages with 14-second shot clocks. So it makes us get up and down and get in game shape. So when we get to games like tonight and we want to run, it's not foreign to us. We've been there and done that before.
Billy sort of admitted that, while the execution has been there for the system so far, like it takes an enormous amount of work and effort to make that happen. I guess realistically, how do you hope to sustain that amount of work and effort to make the system work across 82 games?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, it's early, so we feel good as a group of where we're at right now. But there's a long way to go, and I think every night there's different guys making plays and stepping up. So we've got a bunch of guys, 6-7 guys averaging double figures. That kind of speaks volumes to how deep we are as a team and the impact we're getting across the board. So as I said, it can be anyone's night on any night, and we're going to need 10, 11 guys each night to pull out wins like we did tonight.
Josh, how important was your off-season playing with your mates in Melbourne, just in the gym there? Has that really contributed to your success?
Yeah, I think so. I think playing pickup and playing in game situations is the best way to improve as a player. And you can only do so much one-on-0 and drills against cones and no defense. But once you start simulating that in a game scenario, it makes you better as a player. And I was lucky. I get to play with guys like Dyson every day, and we were together for probably 5-6 months. And he's probably one of the best defenders in the league. So getting to go up against him, only made me better as a player, and figure out parts of my game that I need to get better at. And I tried to really hone in on those in the summer.
The consensus around the locker room the past few games has been that this is a big vibes team. Like the connectivity is there, the off-court chemistry is there. Where does this sort of rank in terms of team vibes for teams you play with? How do you describe the vibes?
Yeah, I mean, it's right up there. It's high, and I think we're really close as a team. And I kind of saw that in Oklahoma in my early days. There was such a close team off the court, and it really helped. When we got on the court. And this group feels the same way. As you said, dinners and doing things off the floor goes a long way. And it might seem like something small. Sometimes you don't feel like leaving your room on the road or whatever, but when we do it and we all come together, that stuff really translates, and it's kind of showing now. We all love each other. We all love playing with each other, and when you enjoy the people you get to go to work with every day, it makes it a lot more fun and enjoyable. And when you're winning games like this, vibes are obviously going to be high, but there's going to be stretches where we're not winning 5 in a row, and we're losing games or whatever, and that's when we've got to come even stronger together, and I think we will as a group.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Josh. Appreciate all your time.
I guess there is more in the back than I saw. Giddey, kind of Josh said about just you guys had a conversation about the 5-0 and sort of taking that in stride. How do you guys go about that? Because obviously, you guys are excited, the vibes are high, but just like how have you seen you guys sort of processing this early success?
I think we understand it. 5-0 is great and all, but it's just still very early. Still a lot to work for us to do ahead. We understand that throughout the games we have won. We haven't been as consistent as we would like to be. There's been a lot of up and downs. But again, it's better to learn while winning than being the other way around. But we understand that we still haven't achieved anything. There's still a long road ahead, and we have to keep working and continuing to improve and understand where we're not doing well and where we are doing well, and continue to work on those things. So while we are happy and excited, we're 5-0. It's great to start this way. We understand it's still a long road ahead.
They cut the lead to, I believe it's as few as 4 in the fourth. Just kind of, you guys have that resolve to, keep them at bay and not let them, tie the game or take the lead. Just kind of, what do you learn from those moments from the group?
I think so far we've been able to stay pretty resilient in those moments. And I know in the timeouts when they made that kind of run and cut it, things weren't really going our way, and we just kind of kept saying to stick together, try to get back to playing our way, to get our defense together, the rebounding, things that we can control. They're a good team. They made a deep playoff run last year, so we knew they were going to come back in the second half, try to go at us and try to get back into the game, which they did. They had a lot of great players, and so. But I'm glad we're able to sustain it. But again, like I mentioned in the first question, if you want to be a good team, you want to win consistently. When you build leads, you have to be able to sustain them. So that's something that we're going to have to learn moving forward.
It seems like everybody is just shooting super hot right now. How much easier is it to shoot when it feels like everything's in rhythm, everything's like an open shot, you guys are always attacking closeouts, always playing with an advantage? How much easier is that for you to get into a rhythm that way?
Yeah, it helps a lot. When you're getting good looks out of good action, in rhythm looks, it's much easier. Just the shots feel most comfortable. I think also what helps is that we're really trying to share the ball, really try to play together, get everybody involved. And when we all, whether you shoot it or not, but if you're involved in the play, involved in actions, you feel like in rhythm, you feel like you're part of the offense. It's much easier, And like I said, when we've been repeating it, we understand we need everybody. We need multiple guys to score in double figures. We don't have that one go-to guy that can just, deliver for us every night. And so, I think a lot of the good shooting has been happening because we are playing together and we are creating good shots, driving and kicking, making that extra play, really trying to work the defense to get the best look we can.
To that point, like Billy was just saying, to win these 5 games, like to play to the system you guys play, it takes this enormous amount of effort and energy. Probably better than anybody in this locker room just how to survive an 82-game season. What are sort of the habits you try to instill, not just here, but with the rest of the guys to sustain that over the course of an 82-game season?
Oh, you mean like physically or just in general? Like
physically, to understand the moment and sustain the system on the court for the course of the season.
Well, I think you just have to understand that this season it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and you have to understand you're going to have up and downs. You're going to have some good runs, some bad runs. I think for us, what helps us is that we do have a deep team that we can play with a lot of rotation, which can help a lot along the season. It's all good. Long rotation, we can help to sustain for 82 games. I think guys understand that we have to take care of our bodies. We have to take care, of that to make sure we're healthy to play. But just overall, just understand having the mentality to whatever is going on throughout the year, whether you're winning, losing, whether you're playing great or not. It's just going to be part of the year, and you have to just kind of try to stay in that golden middle. Can't get too excited, can't get too down on yourself. That's the thing about the NBA. There's always next game, 2 days later, next day, whatever it is. And like I said, we're 5-0. It's great, but we have another game on Sunday against the same team, and after that we play another very good team on Tuesday. So just continue to move on, learn from good and bad, and try to stay in the middle.
Yeah, I think I just the freedom to move is kind of what I have here. Just trying to be in motion. That first year in Sac, I feel like I was always in motion, playing off some bonus, and it wasn't quite the same way the next 2 years. And then I've come here and we're just playing in space. A lot of times we're 5 out, and guys are always moving and cutting, and we're teaching a lot of spacing type of techniques, and guys are trying to get downhill and make plays. And so there's a lot of freedom in me to just kind of find my spots and cut and move without the basketball.
Have you been part of something like this, or even seen something like this where it seems like there's this team without a number one, but you guys have maybe 8 or 9 guys who probably could be starter level players?
I haven't, but I knew when I was here this summer, there's a lot of good players in the gym. And I was excited to see what it looked like, and Billy's probably said a lot of guys we just keep punching, and guys flowing in and out of the game, and continue to play with energy and trying to play faster and more physical than the other team. This team's got to withstand a lot of punches, and so far it's worked.
And this kind of became like a joke last year, running joke with OKC and Indy. Obviously, they've made it the furthest, but they were jokingly powered by friendship. The strength of friendship, the vibe seeing high. with this team. Is there a correlation to, and how would you describe the vibes of this team?
I think so. We play unselfish on the court. I think everyone here roots for each other. We need everybody in the room. Coaching staff has said that at length. Like, everybody's got to be ready. And the way we've won the first 5 is how we got to continue to keep trying to win.
And I know you left the game, like, I think it was either early 4th or late 3rd. Are you good? What was that?
Yeah, late 3rd. I got just hit in the jaw. I got my bell rung a little bit, so I'm good though.
What they took you back here to check on you, or what?
Yeah, took me back quick. Took some Motrin, went back out.
I've never seen a guy check on a guy, and nobody checked on you and then dunked.
Yeah, I didn't see that till after. Like, I didn't notice that when the play was going on, but after. He's a nice dude, though. He came up right after.
I've never seen that.
He was checking on me. I hadn't either. Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah.